Hey, everybody, welcome back to another 20-minute pop-up. Got something really cool today. We're going to do our own version of Mythbusters. Have my friend Craig Carlton here with Connected Investors, and we're going to bust the myth that there are no good deals out there. So, Craig, let's get in it. It's 20 minutes, not 19, not 21. Real quick, though, before we start, tell me like 1 minute about Connected Investors, what you guys do, and then let's jump right into it.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much, David. Glad to be here. Really appreciate the time. So real quickly, Connected Investors is a lead generation platform. So whether you're looking for properties or you're looking for buyers, we have them both. The idea
Okay.
is look anywhere in the country and find both sets of either properties or buyers. So it's really a great lead generation tool.
Wonderful. All right. Well, let's start busting the myth. Like this is what I hear all the time. It drives me crazy because I've been doing this through ups and downs, and people saying that there are no deals out there. So let's jump right into it.
Yeah, so there's two things I want to talk about. First one is that the myth is sort of true. There are no good deals. And the reason is if you don't know where to look for them and you don't know what you're looking for, you're going to struggle to find deals. So what I want to do is just tell you a really quick story or share with
Okay.
you a sort of riddle. And I don't know if it's a story, but anyway, long story short, if you wanted to catch a lake trout, Dave, where would you go?
I mean, a lake trout. I would go to a lake that's stocked, right? Because I want to
Exactly.
work smart, not hard.
Yeah. If you wanted to catch a tuna fish, where would you go?
The ocean, right? I guess
Exactly.
I get me a tuna captain and tell him to take me where the tuna fish are.
Exactly. Most folks either mention the store or they go, I don't know
Oh,
where the lake trout are, but that's
yeah.
funny. But the idea is that I want to catch some fish. So I've got to go where those fish are. So a lake
Makes sense.
trout and a tuna fish, they're both fish,
Hmm.
but they live in different kinds of water, but they're
Yeah.
still both fish. And I want to catch one. So I want you to then
Hmm.
think about that in terms of real estate. If I wanted to find a motivated seller, David, where would I go?
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm going to go search online. I want to search for things that are indicators that this person would be
Yeah.
motivated. So death, divorce, taxes, probate, bad tenant, all those things.
Exactly. You wanna go where they live. You have
Yeah.
to go where they are. Now, we don't
Mhm.
know where they are, so the only way that we can figure out how to find a lake trout is we gotta go to a lake. Now, every time you go fishing, do you catch a lake trout?
Absolutely not.
Right,
Sometimes you get the guppy or the frog with 3 legs.
exactly, or you just get nothing all day long, you're just
Yeah.
casting, and that happens in this business. Sometimes you're fishing in the wrong pond.
Yeah.
One of the myths is that there's no good deals, and the truth is that's not true at all. There are
Mhm.
tons and tons and tons of opportunities.
Yeah.
It matters where you go and then what you're looking for. And so one
Mhm.
of the things I love about the Connected Investor software is it does not matter where you are in the country, you
Yeah.
can find fish. You can find them anywhere. We have access to over 42,000 zip codes. We have access to MLS data. And so what we're doing is we're providing amazing fishing holes. But
Wow.
you gotta have the right bait, right? You
I
gotta
love
have
it.
the right bait. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna focus on the types of motivations
Mhm.
that, like you said, are indicators of some kind of challenge or some
Sure.
kind of distress.
Right.
And so what our software does is we really focus on first finding an area, right? And then we're gonna dig and we're gonna fish and we're gonna just keep casting that till we find them. But we wanna do it smart. So I don't
Mhm.
wanna just do, hey, let me find a vacant property. What I love about the way the software works is we have the ability to stack and curate lists. The
Hmm.
idea is that if I find a vacant property, that might be a good indicator, right, David? It might be an
Right.
okay indicator of motivation. But what if it was vacant and out of town, and the owner
Mhm.
was a tired landlord, and they
Yeah.
had a lot of equity, right?
Right.
Maybe they even have some kind of property delinquency or personal delinquency. So what we're doing is we're trying to locate the best potential. We're going to curate the list and we're going to get rid of a lot of the clutter. So what I love about the way that the software works is I can pinpoint specifically what I'm looking for and then add any kind of filter set. So if I want a vacant property,
Yeah.
great property, I have other things that make it even better,
Hmm.
right? So out of town, I mean,
Right.
30% equity or more. They've
Mhm.
owned it for 10 plus years. If it's
Mhm.
vacant, they've owned it for 10 years. Is that person likely to at least be open to a conversation?
Sure. Yeah.
Exactly.
Tired
And so
landlord.
yeah, tired landlord, exactly. So that's the first step. The first step is understanding where to look, and we always recommend your backyard, unless your backyard's no good, and then we say expand. But always start in your backyard.
Agreed.
Next thing that you're gonna do is you're gonna identify the type of property. Now, sometimes vacants work well with any kind of exit strategy.
Mhm.
But what you'll find is as you're curating your list, you're going to find that certain types of distress fit certain types of exit strategies better, right?
Right.
So that's what we have the ability to do. We have the ability to slice and dice
Mhm.
hundreds of different ways. And then what we're doing is we're creating list of results. And then we want to make sure that the people or the property that we're finding. So
Mhm.
I'll give you an example. So if I did a search for vacant and I add
Right.
a couple of filters, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save the search and then I'm going to save the result. But here's the thing. All properties that are vacant are not only just vacant. There's a lot of other things. So what I like to do is I like to say, okay, let's do one for vacant. And then let's do one that's based on some kind of tax delinquency or some kind of,
Mhm.
property delinquency.
Yeah.
Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to see how many of the properties on the vacant list are also on the tax list that are also on
Oh,
another list. So what we
interesting.
really emphasize is list stacking, building these lists. So the more
Yeah.
times a property shows up on a list, the more motivated they likely are. Does that make
Nice.
sense?
Absolutely. I love that. And, we in our transactions business, we deal with a lot of people like that who, once you do stack all those lists on the other side, you have to clear up all of those problems. So that's really where we specialize in. So I love that.
Yeah. And so then once we locate the problem, the property, and it really is the problem, right? Because we're
Yeah.
looking for problems. We're not just trying to make money. We're trying to solve a
Mhm.
problem. Because if you solve that problem, you'll get paid. Well,
Yeah.
once we find that property, our software has skip tracing. So obviously you can connect with them, whether that's a phone call, email, texting,
Mhm.
postcards, whatever the case might be, driving
Yeah.
for dollars. But then you've got this property, right? What are you going to do with it? You got to find a buyer, right? So that's one of the challenges that a lot of folks have. Our software is designed in the buyer side of things exactly the same way it is with the property. So if I have
Hmm.
a property in Dayton, Ohio, right, and I
Yeah.
got to find a buyer, where am I going to look for the buyer? Am I going to look in Cleveland? No, I'm going to look in Dayton. I'm going to look for
Sure.
a guy that buys property in Dayton. And
Right.
the way our software works, David, is really powerful. So typically when you're looking for a cash buyer, what happens is you find the property and then you get
Yeah.
some details about the property. And then hopefully there's a connection of that property with the seller and all of that, right?
Yeah.
Well, what we've done is we don't look at so much the static nature of that. So what happens is, you buy a property last year. Well, what if
Mhm.
you sell it in 6 months? Well, you're no longer on that
Mm.
sale record. So what we do is we actually follow the transactions, but it's even
Oh,
more important. We're following the tax bill. So
gotcha.
cash buyers typically, if they have more than one property, 5, 6, 7 properties, all
Mhm.
of those tax bills are typically going to the same place, right?
Right. Yeah, the office or
Exactly.
their house or whatever it is.
Whatever that address is, whatever that mailing address as a cash buyer, that's who I want to focus on.
Mm.
Because what that's going to do is that's going to show me individuals that have more than one property going to that address.
Yeah.
But it also gives me insights to larger companies, right? There's some companies that have, 50,000 tax
Sure.
bills because
Yeah.
they're managing all those properties,
Right.
right? And so what we're doing is we're focusing on connecting with the transactional history that then stays with the individual. So it's
Uh-huh.
not just the property we're looking for, even though that's kind of what's generating it. We're
Yeah.
looking at that mailing address. That mailing address is giving us information about that individual. And as an investor, I want to work with people that do cash purchases. I want to work with
Right.
individuals that are buying now,
Love it.
not 10 years ago. Although if they've been buying for the last 10 years,
Mhm.
that's another guy that I want to work with. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And so smart too. And that's one thing that we've always talked about in our own wholesaling business and coaching and even in this business with our clients is, let's start with the end in mind. Let's figure out where people are buying, right? And then let's try to at least be fishing in that pond, right? And
Right.
know that these people are looking for catfish. Cool. Let me go at least focus on catfish because I know that sells here.
Yeah, exactly. And so, as far as the myth is that there's no good deals. Well,
Yeah.
if you don't know where to look and you don't know what to look for, and then you don't know how to curate what
Mhm.
you're looking for, you're
Yeah.
going to come up empty-handed most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're just out there just walking down the road, swinging your tennis racket around hoping you're gonna hit something,
That's
no,
right.
you gotta get onto the tennis court and have some balls thrown your way, and you'll have a much higher success rate.
Exactly. And so the myth
Yeah.
generally is not coming from super
Mhm.
experienced investors
Yeah.
because they understand that this is just a numbers game.
You're
We've
right.
got to put ourselves in front of enough people,
Mhm.
right? If I've got 42,000 zip codes, am I really ever going to run out of leads?
No, gosh, no.
No, how could you? Now, I may not want to travel to San Jose if I'm here in Florida, But what if I know somebody in San Jose? What if I know someone
Right.
that's in Des Moines and I say, hey, there's a great deal, go look. So
Yeah.
it's not necessarily that the deals are not there. It's just
Mhm.
you got to know where to fish and hunt, really.
Right. I love that, and then the data shows us that, right? We should be data driven. I've made the
Exactly.
mistake a couple of times saying, "Oh, no offense to my friends down there, but I want to be in Birmingham because it's close to Chattanooga." Terrible mistake for so many reasons. Boy, we could go to St. Louis. Also a bad mistake, right? Like yeah, you definitely want to be driven more on data than emotion.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing about our data. Our data is
Mhm.
actually updating all the time. So we get that question,
Yeah.
hey, how often does the data update? What I will
Mhm.
say is data is a sort of a funky little beast.
Yeah.
The idea with data is that it's only as good as the individuals that are inputting it to begin with in the first place.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so data is flawed, it's inherently not right, but
Yeah.
it's the best thing that we have. And
Mhm.
because we have coverage over the whole United States, right?
Yeah. Can you
We're
talk about that? Where you get your data from?
yeah, so First American is our parent company. They
Mhm.
purchased us several years ago, and
Yeah.
we've had some amazing things happen since then. The user interface, some of you that are on this probably have heard of the old software that we used to have.
Yeah.
It was, kind of colorful, but this new user interface is really geared towards uh, data filtering and creating results. Right.
Yeah.
So we're being very specific. We're pinpointing exactly what we're looking for. And then what we're doing is we're relying on that public record. So in some states, the data is updating all the time. Some other areas,
Sure.
30 days, 60 days, 90 days.
Mhm.
So in many ways, we're at the mercy of the counties because that's
Yeah.
where all data ultimately comes from,
Mhm.
right? So what we're doing though is we're constantly curating that data, right? There's so much data that you can get access to that
Yeah.
we haven't even made available in the software. It's part of our, stage 2, stage 3
Right.
roadmap. But the idea is that right now, I think there's 200 or so different data points that you can specifically look for. So let me give you an example. If I'm looking for a cash buyer, what I want to do is I want to focus on somebody that's buying fairly recently, but not just a couple of cash purchases. Because the truth is, there's people that buy houses for
Mhm.
cash, but they're not technically investors.
Sure. Could be a doctor. Could be somebody who
Exactly.
has a little bit of money. Yeah.
But what if that doctor owns 5 or 6 or 7 properties? Well, what I really care about is, well, how did he purchase them?
Mhm.
When did he purchase them?
Yeah.
And are any of those cash purchases made in my target area? So I
Mhm.
have the ability of using data to say, hey, I want to find property where buyers own more than 3. They
Yeah.
have at least 1 cash purchase, and then that
Mhm.
1 cash purchase has to be in my specific area of interest.
Interesting.
One thing I'll tell you, David, is I was doing a search the other day, and when I did it, I found 900 individuals. I've never in 2 minutes been able to locate 900 cash buyers. We
Yeah.
used to have to drive down to the courthouse. We used to have to bug, realtors to look at their MLS report.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm telling you, the way that we're accessing the data, filtering the data, and then creating
Yeah.
those results, there is literally no excuse for anybody to
Mhm.
not have enough data to
Yeah.
find deals.
So let's talk about that for just a minute because I feel I know the answer to this because I've been doing it for 22 years, but a lot of people say, "Oh, I have MLS data." MLS data is not always everything, right?
Mhm.
Zillow is not everything because realtors, like the things that happen in realtor world are of course logged on the MLS, and
Right.
there are other service providers who have access to that. But there's 30% of the deals in the country that are done on a cash basis and not through the MLS. So that deal is never going to be logged there. And honestly, the MLS data is not the best data for us. We want to know what cash buyers are paying, right? So I want
Exactly.
access to the cash transactions in all of these states. And that's what I love about you guys. Because also, let's recap. You kind of let that slip through there, but they're owned by First American, the title insurance company who has more data
Exactly.
than anybody. Any
Exactly.
our title company, we underwrite with First American. So I know like they're the kings of data. Like there are other people that buy data from them and repurpose it. So to be able to go directly to the source is very powerful and get you the most up-to-date information when you're trying to make a decision on a property to put on a contract.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of stole my thunder there. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm trying to prop you up here because I know how important that is, and I really want to make that point to people.
Yeah, I think that data is power, power is knowledge, knowledge is power, all of that. I
Yeah.
think that the more data that you have, now here's the other problem with data is that it's very easy to get confused by it. So,
Mhm.
for instance, because we're relying on the public record, we're
Yeah.
we're only we're only as good as the reporting of that public record. So, for instance, I mean, I'm sure you know, but maybe the audience, do you know how vacancies are reported? Who reports that a property is vacant?
Yeah, I do. It's the U.S. Postal Service.
Exactly. So if the postman's having a bad day and he forgets to
Mhm.
report that this house has got mail stacking up and
Yeah.
there's no one living there, then we're relying on that. So what I always tell folks is it's the old Reagan trust but verify.
You're right.
So much trust but
Boy, we're
verify.
showing our age with that, buddy.
A little bit, right?
Wow.
The gray hair does it too. So the idea is that we're going to trust the data, but then we still need to verify it because the truth is there's nothing that's 100% guaranteed. And so what we encourage folks to do is we encourage folks to get in and use it and then
Yeah.
do the thing that you're supposed to do, which is this. Get people to know you, like you, trust you. As a
Exactly.
lead generation tool, your
Mhm.
job is to put yourself in front of as many people as possible that might have a scenario. Once
Yeah.
you get yourself in front of them, you got to get them to like you. And then if
Mhm.
they like you, there's a good chance they might trust you. So
Yeah.
your job as an investor is to play the numbers game. And our
Right.
data allows you to do that.
What are you finding? So you guys provide the best data, and I know we're coming up on the end here, but what are you finding is the best source for people to do that outreach, that actual, the marketing to get in front of people? What do you
Yeah.
find to be most effective today?
Yeah, great question. I believe that we are in a people business. I also believe that we're in a culture right now where everything is yesterday. Quick,
Yeah.
quick, quick.
Hmm.
This is not that business, in my opinion. This is a face-to-face business. Now, you might be doing it over a Zoom call like this.
Sure.
What I tell folks is, um, I just went blank. Forgive me, I went completely blank.
That's okay. The best methods for marketing, whether it's
Oh,
cold
right,
calling, direct
exactly.
mail, PPC, PPL,
Yeah,
all that.
because it's a face-to-face business, the key is you gotta get in front of them. So I love to call, so we give you the
Hmm.
skip trace. I
Yeah.
love sending postcards and direct mail, whoever
Yeah.
that might be through. That is the key. Get yourself in front. So calls, postcards, driving for dollars,
Yeah.
emails, text. We have social media access, so if you find one of their
Ah.
profiles, you can connect with them that way,
Mhm.
whatever it takes. But we are really I personally love talking face to face to people.
Well, Craig, and in my notes here, it says that you've made over 750,000 cold calls, bro. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. Not
You
all
love
of them have been in real estate, but a
Yeah, that's
vast
okay,
majority
still.
have been talking to people face to face. And
Yeah.
so I've learned how to have a conversation. I know there's some
Mhm.
psychology behind that.
Yeah.
And so I love that when I do a list of 1,000 people, I'm going to
Mhm.
get 500 phone numbers. I'm going to
Yeah.
stay busy for the next couple of weeks.
Nice. That's amazing. Well, cool. Listen, I know we only had 20 minutes. I definitely want to bring you back on and do more of a demo of
Yeah,
the
sure.
software. Maybe we could do that next month for people. But for now, I know we talked about a lot of things. So I just threw up here a link, and this will be in the comments below, whether you're watching this on Instagram or any of our Facebook channels. We will make sure that this pops up. And then if you're watching this on YouTube later, this will be there. But tell everybody, what happens when they go to this link. They get a free
Yeah.
trial.
Yeah. You'll
All
get a
the
free
things I think you'll
trial.
be able to do.
Yeah, free trial, 7 days. What I
Mhm.
encourage you to do is get in and play. You'll have some minor limitations to the numbers of things that you can do.
Mhm.
I do a daily training every day, Monday through Friday from 3 o'clock to
Nice.
4 o'clock Eastern. And that's really
Wow.
important because we understand that adopting the software
Mhm.
is the most important thing. So
Yeah.
every day there answering questions, you'll get in, start playing with it. You can't
Mhm.
break it. And I can certainly
Yeah.
help you make sure that you're using it properly.
Yeah, for sure, guys. Buying software is great, but we're not here in the collecting software business. We want to buy something and then actually use it. So I love that you jump on every single day for an hour with people and just kind of help them, no matter what level they're at, just answer those questions.
Exactly. Yep, exactly right. That's exactly
W-
what I do.
Wonderful. Tell me one thing that people don't know about connected investors that you guys do that people are always shocked about.
Oh, we have some new comparables that we
Okay.
didn't have before. So right now, when you
Mhm.
pick a property, within a matter of 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes, within a matter of a minute, you're gonna know the 10 to 50 most comparable properties to that property without lifting a finger. You gotta push a button. That's
Yeah.
the one thing that we do differently than we've ever done before is our comps. They're
Love it.
amazing.
Bam. Thank you so much, Craig. I appreciate it. I can't wait to we'll have you back on. We'll do a little bit deeper dive and longer than 20 minutes. So thank you so much for popping on today. Guys, click this link, get your free trial, go over there, explore it, and let's really blow up your business in 2025. This is one of the things that you are going to need. You have to have access to good data. Connected Investors is powered by First American. That is literally the holy grail of data. So Craig, thank you. We'll talk to you soon.